Hey guys, it's me Crystal, and I'm going to do something a little different today. So I saw it on Thursday, and I want to talk about it. I didn't know I wanted to talk about it, but I read two blog posts in a row on this horror blog, and they were both seeming like they were offended that people didn't find the movie scary. Like somehow the fact that it's not scary makes it not a good movie, which isn't true. Now obviously both of these people, they both read the book. They're big Stephen King fans. I am too. I haven't read a lot of his stuff or seen most of his movies because I can be a scaredy cat sometimes, and Stephen King is scary. Like even when I'm reading his work and nothing is happening, I feel scared. Like there's this tension and there's this sense of impending doom, and he has such a way with words and such a way with people. But that's a book, and that's kind of the main point, I feel like, why I didn't think the movie was scary. I'm pretty sure I would find the book terrifying, but the thing is, a book and a movie are two different mediums. My imagination is far more terrifying than anything they can cook up in a movie. I don't know if it's because I've seen too many horror movies, I've seen too many making of the horror movies, I've seen too many horror movie makeup tutorials. Like, I just don't find that stuff terrifying because I know it's fake. I've been like this for a while, like pretty much since I was like in middle school, and I watched my first behind the scenes. It was Tales from the Crypt, and the Crypt Keeper used to give me the creeps, and I would actually watch the beginning and end of Tales from the Crypt. Is it Tales from the Crypt or Tales of the Crypt? One of those. And I actually watched the beginning and end of that show with my eyes covered because I don't like skeletons, and I didn't like a moving, talking, slimy, greasy skeleton. But then I watched the behind the scenes and I saw that it was some kind of robot machine. It was completely fake, and somebody was controlling it with a remote, and I was like, oh, it's not real. And then like they had like this oozing like sword or something, and they were showing how it works, and I was like, oh. And so now when I see that stuff, I'm like, oh, that's cool, that looks real, you know, or oh, that looks totally fake. But I appreciate good cinematography, basically, and I appreciate, you know, good makeup and, you know, good lighting and, you know, and a good storyline. And I thought it was a good movie, and it was even disturbing in some sense. But the disturbing parts had nothing to do with Pennywise. Like, Pennywise was great, but not like in a horror movie kind of way, but in kind of like a fun haunted house ride at Disneyland kind of way. Like, it was like the number of jump scares in that movie was comical. Like, it got to the point that I was laughing, and not like as a defense mechanism, or not because I almost screamed. I didn't actually almost scream at all in that movie, but it was one of those laughs where you're like, this is stupid. Like, it was genuinely hilarious. And when you're laughing and finding things comical, everything automatically is less scary and less terrifying. And also, like, these kids had home lives and parents and like kids at school who are far more terrifying than some clown shifter. You know what I'm saying? It's like there was this kid in the movie who would carve into people's bodies. Like, he got this new kid and his friends were pinning him down, and he was gonna carve his name into his stomach. Like, that's far more disturbing than some clown who lives in a sewer who only comes out every 27 years. And so I thought it was a good movie, but it's not scary. And I think maybe it would have been even a little bit scary if my expectations weren't so high. Even on the movie poster, it says at the very top, based on the terrifying novel. Also, like I said, I've read Stephen King, and I've been scared reading his book, like scared to turn the page because I don't know what's going to happen, but yet I can't stop reading, and it's so interesting. And I just didn't feel that with this movie. I think I would feel it with the book. I think the book might be amazing, but the movie, it was a good movie, but it wasn't scary. And even the things that were disturbing, like everybody's lives were so bad, you know, like all the kids, they all had like parents or guardians who were horrible. Like, you had this kid and his mom is, well, I guess it's like a spoiler, but you know, his mom is giving him fake pills, and you know, you have the bully carving into people, and you have the girl whose dad is abusive in some way, and I'm not really sure what way, but it's very disturbing. And then you have this shapeshifter in the sewer, and it's like, it's kind of funny, you know, especially based on like the real problems that these kids actually have. That's part of why it's not scary, is that it seems kind of juvenile, and like there are scenes in that movie that I think would have been terrifying had the number of jump scares been lower, had the tension been higher, had things just not been a little ridiculous, you know, involving Pennywise. And I think, and I find clowns creepy in general. I'm not scared of clowns, but I don't really like to be close to them. I think after seeing this movie, I could stand right next to a clown in a creepy mask and find it funny. There's something about this movie that made clowns funny again for me. I don't even know if that makes sense. But like I said, I think the biggest problem is that people's imaginations are going to always cook up something that's scarier than what Hollywood can cook up, you know? It's like, I saw Krampus with a friend and my brother, and me and my brother were talking about it afterwards, and we both kind of agreed that Krampus was more terrifying. In fact, honestly, that movie was scarier than it for me. Like, seriously. But like, it's kind of like when I was growing up, like once you saw the boogeyman, he was no longer scary, because then you could see him and you could see he was made of parts, and you know, it just wasn't scary anymore. Just like when I was talking about Tales from the Crypt. Like once I knew the Crypt Keeper was, I mean, I knew it wasn't a real talking skeleton, obviously, but like once I saw that he was remote controlled, that took away all of the illusion for me. And so then when I would watch this show, like I could see how robotic he was. And it's kind of like in Krampus. Krampus was so much more terrifying before we saw his face. Once we saw his face, it was like, actually he looks kind of sad, and he wasn't scary anymore, and everything he was doing, just, it wasn't as terrifying. And I think that's the problem sometimes. Like, I have a horror novel idea, and there's this dark mass that's getting people, and I talked to one of my cousins about it a couple years ago, and we were kind of discussing how much I should show of this dark mass and like what it actually is, and we both came to the conclusion that it's more terrifying if you don't see what's getting everybody, if you don't see what's inside of that dark mass. And so when I do get to the novel, you know, I'm not going to go into great detail about what's inside this dark mass. It's just going to stay a dark mass, because like I said, once you shine a light on something, it's not that scary anymore, especially in light of the very disturbing home lives that some of these kids have. But that said, I did enjoy the movie. I did like it. I will watch the second part when that comes out, and I'm kind of hoping that maybe with them being older, maybe it'll be more scary. Or even if it's not, I'm sure it'll still be a good movie, and I look forward to seeing it, because I'm not going to read that book because it's going to scare me, and I like to sleep at night. So anyway, those are my thoughts, and you know, just me like trying to understand why I didn't find it scary. I think also, you know, too, my expectations were so high, because I was expecting it to be scary. And like, you know, Secret Window is like one of my favorite movies, and the movie is disturbing. and the story, when I was reading Secret Window, Secret Garden, like, I was disturbed, you know, like there was just something very disturbing going on. And but anyway, those are my thoughts, and I just wanted to get them out of my head and like just come to some kind of understanding about how I felt about this movie, because like I wanted it to be scary and it just wasn't. And I'm not one of those people who like don't get scared at movies. Like, I saw The Woman in Black, and I thought that was scary for about 30 minutes, and then, you see the woman in black and then it's not scary anymore. And I tell you what scared me though, the Amityville Horror remake. I didn't see the original because I was too scared. But I saw the remake when I was in college, and I was on like this mission to watch a movie that would scare me that I had been on since I was in high school. I saw this movie called Idle Hands when I was in the 8th grade, I think, and the movie scared the crap out of me. But after that, like, nothing scared me. People were like, I know what you did last summer, so scary. I saw it laugh through most of the movie when I wasn't rolling my eyes. And then people were like, Final Destination is so scary. I saw Final Destination. I was like, oh my gosh, that was so good. Not scary though. And I think with Final Destination, the reason why it wasn't scary is because when that first person dies, like there's this leak coming out of the pipes, and the guy slips on it, or I think it was a guy, and anyway, he gets hung by a shower curtain, and I was like, oh my gosh, and it's terrifying, and then the water retreats, and I was like, oh. And then it wasn't scary anymore. And then when I got to college, people were like, oh my gosh, the ring is so scary. I saw the ring and I was like, okay, that girl climbing out of the TV, that was disturbing. And a couple of times I looked at my TV and I'm just like, no, the second I see something crazy, I'm busting it with a hammer, okay? Also, I don't think that's gonna happen. But, not scary. And then I saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That bothered me. It did bother me. Like, I went back to my room because I saw her in a friend's room and she lived on a higher floor than me in my dorm. I go back, to my floor and just keep in mind, we had these tiny, tiny closets and I had, plastic storage containers under the bed. And it's not like there was somewhere anybody could have been hiding, but I checked the closets, I checked under the bed, I checked the bathroom, I locked the doors. But that only lasted for one night. But I was disturbed. I saw Jeepers Creepers, I think in high school. That was disturbing. But then I got over it, you know, but I saw the Amityville Horror, and I was so scared I would, like, not go back to my room. So I slept over in a friend's room, and then we locked the door because, like, one of our other friends who lived across the hall from her, her boyfriend kept threatening to, like, knock on our door at night and, like, push it open, because I guess they don't normally lock their door. Like, that was scary to me. So, I guess I was looking for something that would be on the edge the whole time I watched the movie. Even if I left and I was totally fine, which I normally am. Like I said, outside of Texas Chainsaw Massacre that first night, and outside of Amityville Horror also just that first night, you know, I'm usually fine. But, like, the whole time I was watching that movie, like, I was scared. And then, like, when I saw I Am Legend, like, I don't know what I thought that movie was. I guess I thought it was some kind of, like, science fiction movie. And then I saw it, and then you see those things, and it was just, like, really disturbing and gross, and it was unexpected. And I'm like, I didn't sign up for this, and I was scared for months. After watching that movie. Now, that's kind of not what I wanted from watching it. I kind of wanted more like an Amityville Horror kind of feel, where I'm tense the whole movie and scared the whole movie, and I leave and I'm laughing at myself, but I'm also kind of scared to go home alone in the dark, you know? That did not happen at all. But, like, no, I Am Legend, those things bothered me. Like, I was staying in somewhere different at the time, and I was living in this apartment, and my window, well, the sliding doors in front of the patio, they overlooked like this long backyard and like this pond and like this wooded area, and I kept looking at that wooded area like afraid some things were gonna come out of it for like 3 or 4 months. And I would be like, I need to turn the lights off, and I was just scared. And you know, it's interesting what disturbs people and what scares them. And I think my expectations were just too high. And also the jump scares were, like I said, if I did say that, there were so many jump scares that it was ridiculous. And it kind of made the whole movie feel comical, even though, like I said, those people's home lives were very disturbing. And that was not funny. But I don't really like movies like that. Like, that was more like one of those really disturbing thrillers more than a horror movie, though, also. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about it, and maybe I'll do like more movie talks, because I do like talking about movies sometimes, especially like when they're interesting and when like there's themes, or like I just really enjoyed them. I like talking about them. So that is all, and I will see you guys in another video. Bye.